So just to wrap up some of the storylines from Preakness weekend, it wasn't just the Preakness Stakes. Gunsong won the Black Eyed Susan on Friday, the Grade 2 Black Eyed Susan from Mark Hennig, another really awesome daughter of Gun Runner. He just keeps putting out these great horses, particularly fillies. One of the things that was cool, I thought, about the weekend was that it wasn't a procession, and it's nothing against these guys, but it wasn't a procession of Chad Brown and Todd Pletcher and Bob Baffert and Brad Cox winning every single race. You had a lot of diversity in the trainers that were winning. And special shout out to Cherie DeVaux, who picked up 3 stakes wins on Friday. Oh, he's got to even have a hat. All I do is talk up Cherie. She got to send me one.
Joe, this is how far in advance we were on the Cherie DeVaux bandwagon. Is not only like 2 weeks ago, episode 43, at an hour and 3 minutes through an hour and 5 minutes to be exact, did we give a shout out to Cherie and say, what a credit she was to racing and how well she was doing.
Back in 2018, Paul Manganaro, who's a friend, actually sent Cherie a pyramid of success. Here are the goals that, in the timetable that you should set as your personal goals to try to achieve as a trainer. And they weren't easy. It was like, the first one, a couple of them was easy. Win a race, win an allowance race, win a graded stake race, and then win a grade 2, grade 3, and then win a grade 1 by 2024. And she did all those things. And to come from basically, I want to say relatively unknown because she worked for some good programs, but give Cherie DeVaux a lot of credit for being able to work her way up the ladder and to achieve those goals that they preset, but also to continue to manage her racing stable the way she does.
But I actually got this hat a couple of months prior to that even, because she put on Twitter, a request that if anybody sends money to aftercare programs and can show her a receipt of it, that she will send them a Cherie DeVaux hat. So I have one of the original Cherie DeVaux hats from like March or April of this year.
Wow.
And I've been wearing it proudly over the past couple of weeks, especially. But yeah, we were, and you guys at West Point, you guys have been giving horses to Cherie for a long time now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. West Point got in on the ground floor, as you did, obviously, with that hat. And if she were a stock, she would have been a great stock to buy because she just keeps getting better and better. And it's not just her. Shout out to Adrian and the rest of the team at the Cherie DeVaux barn. They do a great job. David and Gordo, obviously, behind the scenes helping pick out a lot of those horses. But yeah, so Cherie won 3. You had Mike Trombetta winning the very one on Friday. Like I said, Mark Hennig winning the Black Eyed Susan. On Saturday, spacing on his first name, but B. Creighton won the Chick Lang with Frost Free. It was a very nice horse. So apologies to Mr. Creighton that I don't have his first name at hand. But yeah, he got a win. Arnaud Delacour, who we also love at West Point, got a win with Fulmineo in the James Murphy, Jorge Duarte. So there were a lot of trainers that don't have 200 horses who were picking up major wins over the weekend at Pimlico on Preakness weekend. So that's an awesome feat for all of them, especially Cherie for that 3-bagger. And then, John, there was a little bit of appreciation for a north of the border legend this weekend as well.
There was, and I'm proud to use him all the time. This is Patrick Husbands, who they actually had a Patrick Husbands Day at Woodbine. And of course, what does he do on his own day? He rides 3 horses to get 2 wins and a third, including, a win in a stake race. In his native Barbados, he's known as the Prime Minister because he's just so well known down there. Joe, he's 50 plus years old and he's still riding. I'm 54, and after 2 hours of pickleball, I can't get off my fat ass off the couch. So I can't imagine how he's still riding. But he's an 8-time Sovereign Award winner as the best jockey. He's got a lifetime win percentage of 20%, over 50% in the money, 370 North American stake winners, 370 North American stake wins. I mean, let that kind of seep in to your mindset, and over 3,600 victories in his extensive and lengthy career. So I'm glad that to be able to point out a couple of people, like you said, that are under the radar, whether it's Patrick Husbands up in Canada, Mark Henning, who, going into that race of the Black Eyed Susan had an 8% win percentage this year. So it was a little rough go for him this year, but that'll definitely pick up their spirits. We didn't mention the fact that horse actually, Gunsong, we were on that horse. Kim Valerio, who does some shortlisting for us, actually really loved Gunsong, and we weren't smart enough to be able to bid 410, nor did we have the deep pockets to be able to do it. But $400,000 was a really good looking purchase now for the daughter of Gun Runner. And then you mentioned Cherie winning 3 stake races that day. Joe, this is kind of an odd stat, but she won 3 stake races that day with 3 different jockeys. I mean, usually, the trainer-jockey marriage is pretty monogamous. But Paco Lopez won the DuPont Distaff. Johnny V won the Hilltop. And then Brian Hernandez won the Grade 3 Pimlico Special. So spreading the wealth, spreading the love, which is what we're doing here on this show. And I think there were a lot of unsung heroes that hopefully will get some additional notoriety, well-deserved notoriety, after this weekend.
Pretty exciting horses too. Like Pyrenees is kind of an emerging handicap division talent. She Feels Pretty was a Grade 1 winner last year. She blew that field apart in the Hilltop. So she kind of looks like the boss bitch in the 3-year-old turf filly division right now. And Shotgun Hottie was much the best. And she's another one that, maybe she's not on Idiomatic's level just yet, but she got a 98 buyer. So she is not far off of the tops in her division as well. And yeah, shout out to Patrick Husbands and Mark Cassidy. You talked about like the monogamous jockey trainer relationship. Those 2 guys have dominated Woodbine for years and years and years. So it's great to see him getting the recognition he deserves. And especially, and speaking of recognition, Brett Creighton. Brett.
I was going to say Brad. You were right.
Yeah, I didn't want to get it wrong, but now after 1,346 starts, Brett Creighton has his first graded stakes winner. So shout out to Brett. Sorry I didn't get your name the first time, but I'm sure you're still on a high from the weekend that you don't give a shit that some podcast host didn't know your first name.
He's going to call you Jake Bianca. Jake Bianca was talking good stuff about me on that podcast.
Jake Bianca and Jim Green.
Exactly. I've been called worse.
Trusty host of Rail Talk. So yeah, feel good weekend, I think, with a lot of smaller and mid-level outfits getting big successes, which we always love to see.